These fascinating pieces of jewelry have been cherished for many generations, carefully passed down through the family of the guest.
My father's side of the family. They were given to my mother when she married my father, and I have a photograph of them dancing shortly after their wedding with my mother wearing the necklace and the brooch.
The items include a delicate necklace and a finely crafted brooch, both of which were crafted by the world-renowned Cartier company. Cartier, founded in Paris in 1847 by Louis-François Cartier, became one of the foremost names in luxury, celebrated not only for its watches and accessories, but also for its extraordinary jewelry creations. Known for producing one-of-a-kind and limited-edition pieces, Cartier quickly established itself as the jeweler of kings and the king of jewelers. The brooch in this collection is a stunning example of Cartier's work during the Edwardian period, a transformative era for the company. Crafted in platinum and set with diamonds, it embodies the Edwardian aesthetic, light, airy, and romantic, defined by intricate openwork and soft elegance. The necklace, on the other hand, offers a fascinating bridge between two artistic worlds. It begins with Edwardian characteristics, including the use of fine pearls, and transitions seamlessly into Art Deco styling with its geometric flair and bold sense of symmetry. This blend makes it especially unique, capturing the spirit of two distinct yet equally iconic eras in jewelry design.
Which is typically from about 1920s to 1930s. So we've got a transitional piece from about 1915.
Remarkably, both the necklace and brooch are signed Cartier on the clasp, with the mark Paris engraved on the opposite side. These signatures confirm not only their authenticity, but also their prestigious origin as Cartier Paris creation, the hallmark of the highest level of craftsmanship and artistry. At auction, this amazing necklace will command a price of...
I would have a value of this between $60,000 and $90,000.
While the brooch will fetch a price of...
between $15,000 and $20,000.
What we have here is a remarkable piece of history, a journal that once belonged to the mother of the guest.
My grandmother was president of the Rhode Island Association of the Blind, and when Helen Keller and her companion came to Providence, they stayed with my grandmother.
This is no ordinary keepsake, but the first edition of Helen Keller's journal, a rare and highly sought-after publication that continues to inspire collectors and admirers alike. Helen Keller, born on June 27, 1880, in Tuscumbia, Alabama, was one of the most extraordinary figures of the 20th century. At just 19 months old, an illness left her both deaf and blind, a challenge that seemed insurmountable at the time. Yet, through perseverance and with the guidance of her teacher Anne Sullivan, Keller learned to read, write, and communicate, ultimately becoming a powerful voice for people with disabilities. This particular journal, covering the period from the 4th day of November in the year 1936 to the 14th day of April in the year 1937, reveals a more intimate side of Helen Keller. While she was widely admired as a lecturer, author, and activist, her journals show her as a reflective and deeply thoughtful individual. Within its pages, Keller shared her personal observations, her advocacy for social reform, and her reflections on the world as she experienced it. Her writing reveals not only her intellect, but also her sense of humor, her optimism, and her unshakable determination to live a meaningful life despite the challenges she faced. What makes this particular copy all the more extraordinary is that it carries a personal inscription by Helen Keller herself, dedicated lovingly to the guest's mother. Such inscriptions are exceedingly rare and elevate this piece from an already valuable first edition to a truly one-of-a-kind treasure. At auction, a signed and inscribed first edition of Helen Keller's journal, it will command a price of...
We would put the value at $1,500 to $2,000.
In the summer of 2019, a captivating painting was purchased at an auction held on a stormy day.
I brought a painting that I bought the summer of 2019 at an auction.
Upon seeing the painting, a nostalgic pull echoed from a brief time in Switzerland, finding its perfect place in the center hall of the home. Despite the painting's charm, the artist's identity remained unknown, though letters at the bottom hinted at a name. Upon further examination, it was revealed that the painting was by Edgar Payne, a California artist born in 1883 and who passed away in 1947. Payne, a California impressionist, celebrated the Sierra Nevada's beauty in vibrant plein-air works. This oil painting on masonite dazzles with a thick impasto technique, revealing glimpses of the substrate that enhance its character. A frequent muse for Payne, the painting captures a reflective lake that inspired a lake bearing his name. The composition featured a horizon line where the lake met the mountains, accented by a striking sky in a beautiful robin's egg blue. Such transition of colors from white snow to various shades of blue and gray created a visually stunning piece. Touches of yellow in the trees further enhanced the vibrancy.
And even in the forest down here, you get to see some yellows in the trees. So top to bottom, I think it's a really spectacular little gem.
Current market estimates for a painting of this size at auction range between
Would be worth somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000.
Ooh, nice.
This sculpture, crafted from a pair of shoes, was made by Ai Weiwei. Weiwei is a Chinese contemporary artist, documentarian and activist who encapsulates political conviction and poetic expression in his numerous sculptures, photographs and public works.
This was in Ai Weiwei's first show in New York City in 1988. The piece is signed and dated on the back.
This particular piece was acquired by the current owner, the guest, at a yard sale in 2001. It is signed and dated 1988 on the back, which enhances its authenticity. Titled One Man's Shoes, this sculpture addresses themes of surveillance, state power, and individuality in contemporary society.
You said the title of this is?
One Man's Shoe.
Right. So, and it was in an exhibition. You know the name of the exhibition?
Old Shoes, Safe Sex, I believe.
That's right.
The work is part of Ai Weiwei's broader exploration of social justice and human rights, and consists of a single pair of slightly worn shoes. Approximately 5 of these sculptures were created, with some having previously been sold. The worn, everyday objects encourage viewers to empathize with the struggles of those who may otherwise be anonymous or overlooked. Contemporary Chinese artworks, especially those by Weiwei, are rare and highly desirable. In a conservative auction estimate, given the rarity and significance of this piece, we can expect it to fetch.
In a gallery setting, this piece would probably sell for about $100,000.
Here we have an avid folk art collector presenting 2 antique walking sticks for appraisal. Both are signed, though not by a well-known carver. Typically, when a carver creates a walking stick, it's for personal use, often including small personal details on it, and then they rarely make another. These particular canes, however, are signed by their maker, Robert H. Craig, with one dated 1881. We know a bit about Mr. Craig. One of his walking sticks features a Masonic emblem, and at the top, a carved Holy Bible, along with symbols like a fish and a shoe.
The Masonic emblem, and up here we have a carved Holy Bible.
Flash forward 21 years, and here we see a second cane signed by Mr. Craig in 1902. His growth as an artist is evident in this later piece. It's truly remarkable and rare that these 2 canes have stayed together.
And that is so terrific, and it's so rare that these 2 would have stayed together.
The second cane was crafted from a larger piece of wood and intricately carved, featuring animals and symbols that are extraordinary examples of American folk art. Mr. Craig painted the background with polychrome paint, leaving the animals themselves unpainted, which gives a striking contrast.
In terms of American folk art, he painted the background with a polychrome paint, and left all the animals unpainted.
The finishes are entirely original. As for their valuation, the first cane would be valued in the folk art market at approximately $600 to $800. However, the second cane is more than just a walking stick. It's almost a totem of American folk carving. Its retail value is estimated between
somewhere in the $20,000 to $25,000 range.
Hoorah!
The guest brought a doll that originally belonged to her grandfather, who was a salesman in New York. The guest believed the doll was used as a sample for customers at stores. However, it was not a salesman sample, but rather a deluxe toy for a young child. The doll was made by Kestner, a famous German doll maker who proclaimed himself the king of the dolls. Kestner started by making porcelain or china doll heads before moving on to bisque dolls. Kestner dolls were a cherished part of antique doll history, known for their exquisite craftsmanship and attention to detail. The particular doll was made in 1910 and came in its original German-labeled box, which was rare. The appraiser noted that the doll was sold as a set.
What's wonderful about your doll is it's in its original German labeled box.
This Kessner 171 doll was characterized by its standing pose and elegant attire. It featured a mohair wig, sleep eyes that could close, and an open mouth with little teeth. The item was considered favorable among collectors due to its original box and good condition. The value of the doll at auction was estimated to be significant.
Would be between $6,000 and $8,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
The guest brought a rifle that belonged to her great-grandfather. The appraiser identified the rifle as a cavalry carbine made by the Star Arms Company in New York.
So the gun was made by the Star Arms Company of New York, and they had gone into business in the late 1850s.
The Star Arms Company was a prominent firearms manufacturer located in New York during the mid-19th century. Their most famous products include the Star Model 1858 Army revolver and the Star carbine. This specific rifle was a breech-loading carbine, meaning it was loaded from the breech rather than the muzzle, which was the standard at the time. The rifle was in excellent, untouched condition, which was rare given the low survival rate of these firearms. Given the rarity and historical importance, the value determined for each item was.
In an auction setting, this gun's going to sell between $2,500 and $3,500.
This extraordinary photographic collection transports us to a bygone era, where rebellious spirits and roaring engines forged a legacy. These vintage photographs originated from our guest's grandfather, a testament to his adventures in the 1920s.
And he gave them to me because I'm the one that knows about archives and working in the art business.
Great.
This rich photographic heritage consists of 128 images, with many thanks to the guest's uncle's diligent preservation efforts.
This whole archive is 138 photographs. A lot of it has been in my uncle's possession up until a year and a half ago.
In the early 20th century, a rebellious spirit swept across America, fueled by the rumble of engines and the thrill of the open road. As motorcycles gained popularity, groups of riders began to band together, forming clubs that embodied freedom, camaraderie, and a desire for adventure.
It was a time of rebellion against the middle class, and my great-grandfather was Oakland Feed and Grain Company.
From the 1910s to the 1930s, motorcycle clubs sprouted up nationwide, drawing in veterans, outcasts, and thrill-seekers. These pioneers forged a distinct culture, marked by leather jackets, tattoos, and a code of loyalty. As World War I and the Great Depression shaped America, motorcycle clubs adapted, providing support networks and community. Post-war, the rise of returning veterans and Hollywood's glamorization of bikers further fueled the movement. A striking aspect of this collection is the presence of women, shedding light on their often overlooked role in early motorcycle culture.
In the 1920s, is that there's women as well.
Oh, yes.
Women were just beginning to be able to vote.
Among the collection, this image is especially meaningful, as it captures the guest's grandfather in a moment of time. The collective value of these iconic images at auction is projected to be.
We're looking at a total value at auction between $4,200 and $6,300 at auction.
This guest brought a painting onto the show, not just any painting, but one created by Edward Mitchell Bannister. Edward Michael Bannister was a Canadian-American oil painter of the American Barbizon School.
This was about 40 years ago, so everything's a little sketchy, but they bought this and a couple other paintings at a flea market.
What stands out immediately is Bannister's masterful use of light and texture, capturing not just a scene but an entire atmosphere. This painting evokes a quiet majesty, inviting the viewer to step into a moment suspended in time. The painting serves as a window into the natural world, viewed through the eyes of a pioneering artist who defied racial barriers to make his mark in the 19th century. As one of the few prominent black artists of his era, he brought a unique perspective to landscapes, making his work both beautiful and historically significant. Typical of Bannister's work, this piece captures a group of cattle on a patch of land under a stunning sky. In the bottom right corner, we can see the artist's signature along with the date 1879.
There's an artist called Edward Mitchell Bannister. One of the reasons he's famous is he was the first African-American artist to come to national prominence.
Some minor scratches are visible, which is expected given the painting's age. Paintings by Bannister are exceptionally rare, and in this condition, this piece would be valued at.
So would it surprise you further to learn that it's worth, at auction, I would say $6,000 to $10,000?
This remarkable piece has been treasured and passed down through the guest family for 3 generations.
This has been in our family for 3 generations now. Came down from my wife's grandmother to her mother and to my wife.
Presented here is an astonishing piece of porcelain featuring a hallmark on the back. The hallmark displays an impressed mark of a cattle alongside the name of the producing company, Metlock. Metlock was actually a factory of the renowned pottery and porcelain manufacturing company Villeroy & Boch.
And Metlock was actually a division of another company called Villeroy & Boch.
Founded in 1748 by Francois Boch, Villeroy & Boch originally began as a pottery manufacturer. In 1766, it merged with the factory owned by the ceramicist Nicolas Villeroy, giving the company its current name. Villeroy & Boch was a pioneer in the ceramic industry, and in the 19th century they introduced new production techniques, including the use of kaolin, which allowed for the creation of finer porcelain. Beneath the hallmark it reads VB and is accompanied by an impressed 01, indicating that the piece was made in 1901. The Metlock factory became one of the most significant production sites for Villeroy & Boch, especially known for its stoneware steins and decorative ceramics. Among their second biggest products were large plaques or chargers designed for decorative purposes. This particular piece is designed with bright and vivid colors, featuring a gnome or dwarf sitting in a forest of toadstools, eating porridge and gazing at a fairy.
There's another dwarf sitting in a forest of toadstools, and he's reading a book, but he doesn't have the company of the lovely fairy.
Interestingly, this plaque likely had a companion piece, as such plaques typically came in pairs.
Depiction, huh?
Depiction of the scene. Now this had a companion plaque. These plaques usually came in pairs.
On the front of the plaque is the name of the designer, Heinrich Schlitt. Schlitt was a German painter and illustrator known for his fantasy motifs featuring gnomes, dwarves, and fairies. He was one of the in-house artists at the Villeroy & Boch ceramic company in Metlock, and his designs for their beer steins remain popular among collectors to this day.
Particularly like the work of this artist. He did such great work that there's always a premium on anything that he designed.
Presented in excellent condition, this ceramic plaque or charger would sell at auction for a conservative estimate of
this particular plaque would usually retail for somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000.
A remarkable sculpture by Alexander Calder, crafted from metal and wire, showcases both stability and movement, a harmonious blend of mobile and stable. This piece boasts a balanced base and an elegantly moving upper section.
This is wonderful because you have the base and this amazingly balanced piece. Maybe you could show us how it's balanced. And that's it? And what is there, a little indentation
Just a little hole in the...
Uh-huh. And it sits right there.
A small indentation adds to its unique character, revealing the artistry and craftsmanship inherent in Calder's work. His signature pressed into the side confirms its authenticity. At 14, a young traveler's European adventure led him to Calder's compound, thanks to a family friend married to the artist's daughter. On his 15th birthday in 1969, Calder gifted the boy this sculpture, likely created during the same time he was observed at work.
What did he say?
He didn't say much. He wasn't a very talkative person, but he was very humorous.
Calder, a titan of 20th century sculpture, transformed modern art with his inventive designs and constructions. This sculpture's provenance is exceptional, with a narrative connecting it directly to Calder's studio. Pending authentication from the Alexander Calder Foundation, its estimated market value ranges between...
This would be $250,000.
Wow. Spectacular.
Yeah.
Passed from her grandmother to her father, she's next in line to inherit it. This 1830 French musical pocket watch highlights elegant craftsmanship and mechanical innovation. A standout feature of this pocket watch is its enamel-painted dial, depicting a detailed port scene with ships, figures, and an American flag. These enamel paintings required skilled artistry to endure the delicate firing process. The French called the intricate back engraving guilloche, or engine turning.
Notice at the center how it's indented a little bit right there? That is called a bullseye crystal. Can't get those today.
Its inner cover of the watch, called a cuvette in French, served as a dust cover to protect the movement. It features two holes. Two mechanisms power the watch, a smaller barrel for the mainspring and a larger barrel for the musical part. Musical watches were prized for playing a melody when wound, delighting the owner. Echoing the elegance of a bygone era, the appraiser valued the item.
I think this watch would easily bring between $15,000 and $20,000.
Wow, that is quite the shock. It's been in the safety deposit for like 20 years. So wow.
On display at the show is glassware inherited by the guest from her mother's family 30 years ago. This glassware was made by Tiffany & Co. circa the 1920s. The type of glass used in this piece is known as Cypriot glass. Cypriot glass has a shimmering iridescent surface that gives it an antique, weathered appearance. It is distinguished by its irregular, pitted and textured surface, clearly visible on the vase. Cypriot glass was designed to emulate the corroded look of ancient glass found at archaeological sites.
What it's meant to replicate is how the excavated Roman glass looked when it was discovered. Usually what happened over the time that it was buried, the chemicals in the minerals and moisture in the dirt or the sand would react with the surface of glass. It would create something that looked just like this.
Creating this glass vase involves a somewhat complex technique that requires specialized skill. Upon examining the bottom of the vase, we can see the maker's mark along with numbers and letters indicating the year it was made.
This has a suffix letter P, which indicates that the piece was made between 1926 and 1929.
For glassware approximately a century old, its current physical condition is remarkable. Tiffany glassware is highly sought after by collectors, and in this condition, this piece could easily command.
Something like this would be $25,000 in a retail store.
Oh, Lord. Maybe I better insure it.
While helping a friend clean up an attic, this guest discovered this piece and immediately fell in love with it.
I had a friend who I was helping clean out her attic, and we found it. I fell in love with it and ended up purchasing it from her.
As a silver collector with a family history of collecting silver pieces for generations, the guest was drawn to this find. The item presented is a sterling silver presentation punch bowl. Crafted in Philadelphia in 1904, the bowl features an intricate engraving of a yacht on its front, adding to its aesthetic and historical appeal. The appraiser identifies this design as typical of bowls gifted to retiring commodores of the Philadelphia Yacht Club.
And it's a presentation punch bowl with an engraved yacht on the front of it. It was given to a Commodore upon his retirement from being a Commodore of the Philadelphia Yacht Club.
Engraved on the bowl is the yacht of the retired Commodore, named Geraldo, displayed within an ornate cartouche surrounded by floral designs. Accompanying the bowl is a silver ladle, originally crafted by Dominic and Half in New York. The appraiser believes that Caldwell likely acquired the ladle and then decorated it to complement the punch bowl's design. The ladle showcases the same decorative motif as the bowl, including a striking rope pattern along its edge, which matches the rim of the punch bowl. This matching rope detail further supports the theory that both pieces were custom designed to form a cohesive set. The bowl stands on a finely constructed circular base, featuring intricate sea monster faces emerging from its bottom edge. The piece was made by the Caldwell family in Philadelphia, who were known as the major fine jewelry institution of Philadelphia in the 19th century. On the back of this piece is an inscription showing the piece was dedicated to Commodore Abraham L. English by the Philadelphia Yacht Club in 1904. Above the dedication are his initials written in solid gold, which add great value to this piece. Currently in rather poor condition, this piece would benefit greatly from a thorough cleaning, which would enhance its value, potentially worth.
To be offered in a good auction house, it would probably be sold for around $8,000 to $12,000.
Wow, okay. It's more than I expected for sure.
A guest brought in a family heirloom doll named Hunzi Czech, which her great-grandmother had brought over from Czechoslovakia. It was passed down to her father, who then gave it to them. The expert explained that the doll was actually made in Germany, likely around 1910, and was possibly sold in Czechoslovakia as a souvenir. It was crafted by the Kessner Company, which was known for its quality dolls and used King of the Doll Makers as a marketing slogan. The doll was made from bisque for the head and composition for the body, featuring unique mouth-blown glass googly eyes. The doll retained its original mohair wig, felt hat with silk flowers and embroidered ribbon, adding cultural significance. The appraiser noted that the doll had a cheerful expression with a slight hint of mischief. While the head was in excellent condition, there was some toe damage. Due to its rarity and overall good condition, the retail value was determined to be.
In today's market, his retail value with the damage would be somewhere between $4,500 and $6,500.
Curiosity sparked when an ordinary object was discovered, hinting at a hidden story. In a thrift store in Florence, South Carolina, a drawing caught the guest's attention, priced at just $2.
I thought, well, it's an interesting piece. I think people will talk about it, so for $2, that's worthwhile.
The artwork featured expressive faces that revealed deep emotions. A connection formed, making it a perfect addition to an office space. A name on the back sparked intrigue: Donald Batchelor. Research began to uncover the journey of an artist born in 1956. Once a janitor in a museum, he cleaned floors by night.
So he went to art school, he earned a BFA and an MFA, and he got really interested in German art.
Driven by passion, pursued art studies and joined New York's East Village scene. His neo-expressionist style was bold and playful. The infusion of tea and ink in the piece lent it an exquisite charm, transforming it into a captivating blend of artistry and storytelling. After Batchelor's passing in April 2022, work gained attention. What began as a simple find could fetch as follows.
If we were estimating this work at auction, we would estimate it at $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh, wow. That is quite impressive for a $2 investment, I have to say.
With that said, the visit was deemed successful, leaving anticipation for more. This is an unusual piece of jewelry because it's a perfume bottle. The jewelry is called a scent flask, and it was used by ladies to provide a pleasant scent. It also doubles as an antique piece of jewelry and is quite rare. The body of the piece is crafted using a unique type of enamel work called champleve enamel.
They engrave the design into the surface of the gold, they fill it with enamel, and then they sand it flush to the gold.
From close observation, we can see that the bottle combines turquoise and Persian turquoise designs. The bottle dates back to between 1850 and 1860, during the peak of exotic jewelry pieces.
When there was a sort of interest in exoticism related to North Africa, Moorish designs, and to Middle Eastern designs, especially.
It's also equipped with a dragon-shaped brooch, which was used to attach the bottle to a collar. This kind of perfume flask is a one-of-a-kind piece that is rarely seen. The bottle is also adorned with 18-karat gold, which is interestingly handmade. If this rare piece were to be sold at auction, one could easily expect an estimate of around.
I would estimate at auction, a piece like this would be worth somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000.
What we have are archives from a concentration camp survivor associated with Theresienstadt, also known as Terezin.
And she and her parents were imprisoned there for 3 years.
The artist of these paintings used bags of canvas to create 3 distinct works. Furthermore, these paintings likely represent the artist's vision of the Terezin camp experience. The subject matter and the identity of the artist, Franz Peter Keen, make these paintings quite unusual.
Depicting the camp and getting the message out that this was not the model camp, but was actually a tragic situation.
Franz was a well-known Czech artist recognized for his poignant work within the camp at Terezin. However, valuing these pieces in a modern context is challenging because they are considered priceless.
Monuments demands inhumanity to man.
The artist's signature appears in various forms on some of the artworks. Additionally, among the Holocaust archives is documentation related to the guest family, including a pass from a displaced person's camp. There is also a work pass stamped with the appropriate markings. In today's market, given their historical significance, an auction estimate for these pieces would be valued at.
An auction estimate for this would have to be in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $15,000 for the 3 works.
This painting originally belonged to the guest's mother-in-law and was created in 1930. The artist of this painting is Inger Irving Kaus. Inger Irving Kaus was an American artist and a founding member and first president of the...
He was a very interesting artist. He was one of the founders of the Taos school, and he was the first president of the Taos Society of Artists.
This work was completed after he became a national academician, as evidenced by his signature in the lower left, E.I. Kaus, along with the inscription N.A., which stands for National Academician. The National Academy is an honorary organization of artists that elects its members. In addition, this painting is an oil on canvas. It depicts an image of an Indian woman. Furthermore, this piece likely dates from the late 1920s to the early 1930s based on the handling of the work.
It's very competent, but there's some generalized drawing.
However, there are some generalized drawings that exhibit characteristics of a later, more modern painting style. The medium of this painting is oil on board. In terms of retail replacement value, given its significance and provenance, it would fetch around
$75,000.
That's good. Yeah, great. Terrific.
Paintings are a form of visual art that have been created throughout history using various techniques and mediums. This painting has been in the house of our guest for many generations. The painting on display was made by an artist known as Grandma Moses. Grandma Moses, also known as Anna Mary Robertson, was a renowned American folk artist, known for her vibrant and charming paintings.
Well, she was an elderly woman.
Right.
We knew her from about 1940. So this was before she really became famous.
Right.
This painting is an original with a primitive style, characterized by a naive and simple depiction of subjects.
Was the house there when you were there?
Oh, yes. It was the original house where we knew her before she got famous, and they built her a swell home.
Furthermore, the painting is titled The Checkerboard House, one of her best paintings. Beneath the painting, there is an inscription by the artist showing her name. On the back of the painting, there is a label that carries her picture and an inventory number. The label also carries the date when it was painted, September 2nd, 1942. Considering the authentic nature of this painting, it will command a value of...
I put an insurance value of about $60,000 on it.
Within the National Museum of Toys and Miniatures, enchanting miniature villages showcase dollhouses from various historical eras and cultures. Recently, Roadshow collaborated with an appraiser to explore these intricate representations of life in miniature. Dollhouses have fascinated collectors across cultures for centuries, originating in the 16th and 17th centuries as display cabinets rather than houses. These cabinets open to reveal collections of miniatures that wealthy women acquired from around the world. By the 18th century, doll cabinets crafted by skilled cabinet makers were made specifically for children, often replicating the design of grand manor houses. By the 19th century, dollhouse production was commercialized, making them more widely available. Two examples on display include an American Bliss dollhouse and a German Gottschalk model. Bliss often marked its dollhouses with a small label on the front, and this particular example from the 1890s features original papered floors and walls, with lace curtains likely added later.
You'll see all the original papers on the floor and on the walls, and the lace curtains, which probably aren't original to the house.
In contrast, the Gottschalk house is simpler in design but includes electrical wiring, a common feature by the late 19th century.
Spindles and doors and everything, but it's still a desirable house. This one is actually electrified, which was very common at the end of the 19th century.
In the retail market, the German Gottschalk house, due to its historical significance and craftsmanship, would likely command a substantial price of
between $2,000 and $2,500.
Meanwhile, the delicate and ornate Bliss dollhouse, given its fragility and detail, could be valued at...
You'd probably have to pay between $5,000 and $6,000 for that on the retail market.
For this segment, our guest brought a vintage gambling wheel to the show.
My grandparents and great-grandparents had a lot of antiques, and it's one of the things that I was fortunate enough to get. My brother told me it might have been something that was used back on the trains for gambling.
This wheel is crafted from high-quality wood and features meticulous hand-painting with bold colors and numbers. The name Kelly MFG Co., the manufacturer of this piece, is displayed prominently on the wheel. It includes a spring-loaded clapper that clicks along small metal dividers as the wheel spins. This clicker not only serves a functional purpose, but also adds excitement to each spin as it gradually slows down and stops. The layout of numbers or symbols on the wheel could vary depending on the specific game it was used for. Judging by the design, we can estimate that it was made circa 1899 to 1900. To ensure stability during a spin, the wheel has a weighted base to prevent tipping. Given its age, most surviving Kelly wheels show signs of wear, but this one on display has been exceptionally well preserved. At auction, a vintage gambling wheel in this mint condition would be valued at...
It should certainly bring in the $1,500 range.
Really?
Well, just give it a spin and...
Yeah.
Humans appreciate any item that serves as a tangible connection to memories and emotions, providing a way to cherish and reflect. Our guest here brought a fob she purchased at an antique store. This piece is a watch fob, a decorative item that was traditionally attached to a pocket watch or chain. Watch fobs were popular in the 19th and 20th centuries and often featured intricate designs.
This is not just a fob, it has a little secret.
This piece is hinged and contains some braided hair inside. A fob containing hair is a type of memorial or mourning jewelry that was popular in the 18th and 19th centuries. Unfortunately, this fob belonged to someone who passed away, which is quite sad. On the piece, the dates 12th May 1864 to 25th March 1866 are inscribed. Interestingly, this amazing memorial piece was purchased for about $200. Considering the story behind this memorial fob, it will command a price of...
I think I would have it in for $800 to $1,200.
Very nice. It was such a sweet thing in there.
He inherited the piece from his mother about 3 years ago. This Kiowa beaded and fringed dress showcases the artistry and cultural traditions of the Kiowa people. It was made from tanned deer, elk, or buffalo hide, abundant to the Kiowa. Tanning required skilled labor to scrape, soak, and smoke the hide into durable fabric.
The hide is deer. It's native tanned. It would have been softened and prepared with the mashed up brains of deer. It would provide both acid and lanolin.
Beadwork represented tribal affiliation and status, with Kiowa women using it to tell stories and mark life events. Fringe added movement and visual interest, serving aesthetic and cultural purposes in ceremonies and dances. For the Kiowa, fringe symbolized connections to the earth and animated the dress during ceremonies. These dresses were made for important occasions like marriages and could be passed down as heirlooms. Rich in cultural significance and history, the appraiser valued the item.
On a retail basis, I would value this at around $7,000. It's highly desirable. I can't tell you how much we enjoy seeing this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
This painting belonged to the guest's great-grandfather, and it actually depicts his ship. The man was Marcus L. Uran, as seen on the flag. Marcus L. Uran was the founder of Ocean Spray Cranberries. According to a 1917 article in the New York Times, the ship, a cargo schooner, was transporting lumber from Naples, Florida to New York when it encountered a series of storms. Most of the crew was lost at sea. The article detailed that only 3 people survived and provided an in-depth account of the event.
I guess Naples, Florida, to New York, and it hit a series of storms.
The ship itself is fascinating, as is the artist who painted it. Solon Badger, born in Massachusetts in 1873, was a noted artist who specialized in ship portraits. He passed away in 1919. This painting is inscribed on the reverse with Charlestown, Mass., the location of Badger's studio. What truly sets this painting apart from many others by Badger is that it portrays a 5-masted ship, each mast bearing a flag. Including an American flag in a painting, whether of a ship or a city scene, significantly enhances its desirability. This piece is oil on canvas, with much of the rigging carefully rendered in pencil. One remarkable aspect of this painting is its condition, untouched. Although it has a small few dings, it is far better preserved in its original state than if it had been restored. The pigments used for the sails and rigging are quite delicate, so cleaning could risk removing them. The painting exudes a unique energy when preserved in its original condition and backed by such clear provenance.
This is catnip in the trade. It creates an energy when you have a painting.
The market for Badger's work has been somewhat erratic in recent years. In 2008, a 5-master by Badger was sold at auction for approximately $25,000. For insurance purposes, however, this painting would be valued at around.
I would insure this for closer to $35,000.
$35,000.
The piece of furniture brought in was inherited by the owner from her aunt. Stylistically, it would have been fashionable in England at the beginning of the 18th century, around 1720 to 1740. The style is known as Queen Anne, and this piece is a cross-banded Burl walnut cabinet. It displays many features typical of English furniture from that era, such as a beautifully shaped pediment, mirrored doors, the choice of woods, and the candle slides, all indicative of the period.
I think she told me I couldn't afford it.
That you could, well, a good thing you inherited it. Stylistically, this would have been fashionable in England.
However, this piece is not actually from the 18th century, nor is it likely from the 19th. It was probably crafted in the early 20th century with the intention of deceiving. In other words, this is a replica, not as old as it appears to be. One way to identify its true age is by examining the physical evidence. If it were genuinely 300 years old, it would show much more wear and age-related distress, such as cracks and replaced veneers. Additionally, there are no repairs to the feet, and there is no shrinkage in the molding, both signs one would expect in an authentic 18th century piece. Looking at the back, the color varies from top to bottom, a clear sign of staining, which is often a trick used to make furniture appear older.
Of a piece of furniture, the same materials would have been used on the upper section.
In the 18th century, the same materials would have been used throughout the piece to speed up production, meaning the upper and lower sections would match in thickness and wood quality. However, on this piece, the thickness of the drawer fronts and the sides differ. The dovetails are inconsistent and the color varies. In keeping with English tradition, oak was used as a secondary wood. Other telltale signs include the batwing brass hardware, which is often associated with the early 18th century. However, these are not original, as evidenced by extra holes, suggesting previous hardware was used. In conclusion, while this cabinet was likely made in England in the English tradition, it is not from the period it emulates. If it were an authentic 18th century piece, it would likely be valued at $40,000 to $60,000 at auction. However, as a 20th century reproduction, it would likely be estimated at around.
It would be estimated at maybe $4,000 to $6,000.
I'll take it home and enjoy it now and won't worry about damaging it.
Taking it home is the perfect thing to do with it.
This guest brought a bracelet and a ring to the show, both of which were acquired from a family friend.
And when she passed, she left these two items to me in her will, and I remember admiring the ring because that was something that she would always wear when I'd see her Sunday night.
The bracelet is a classic 1940s piece, adorned with European-cut diamonds totaling 8 carats. Additionally, the bracelet features straight baguette-cut diamonds intricately basket-woven into the design, weighing a total of 10 carats. Crafted from platinum, the design indicates that it was made in the United States. Although there are no maker's marks on the bracelet, it remains highly valuable due to the quality of the stones. At auction, it is estimated to fetch.
I believe you'd have to put the bracelet at $35,000.
Wow.
We also have a ring on display, featuring a 15.4mm pearl at its center. The ring is beautifully set with pave diamonds on the sides, weighing a total of 6 carats, and is also crafted in platinum. This ring dates back to the mid-20th century, and on the inside we find the maker's mark, Van Cleef & Arpels. Van Cleef & Arpels is a French luxury jewelry company that was founded in 1896. Their pieces often featured flowers, animals, and fairies. At auction, given the exceptional quality of this piece and the renown of its maker, it's estimated to be worth.
For insurance replacement, would probably be close to the $60,000.
Oh my goodness, thank you.
A flintlock rifle with distinct historical markings dates back to early American firearms manufacturing.
We have P and E.W. Blake. Do you know who that is?
No.
Nobody else did either.
Acquired in the early 1980s, this rifle proudly bears the name P and E.W. Blake, linking it to Eli Whitney's talented nephews. After Whitney died in 1825, the Blakes honored him by branding their rifles with their names. Although the Blake name was unfamiliar to most, Eli Whitney's reputation was widely recognized due to his invention of the cotton gin. Crafted in 1826, this firearm is one of about 15,000 rifles produced by the Blake nephews between 1826 and 1830. By 1830, they reverted to the Whitney name for brand recognition. Highlighting its historical significance, this piece retains matching dates on both the lock plate and barrel. Its original flintlock configuration, combined with a .69 caliber, further enhances its authenticity and appeal. In today's retail market, the rifle's estimated value is approximately
Just a fantastic old gun. This gun would probably bring about $2,500 on the retail market.
My brother will definitely take more of an interest in it.
With every indication, we can verify that this dress is from Chinese origin, and it is from the Chinese Qing Dynasty. The Qing Dynasty, also known as the Manchu Dynasty, was China's last imperial dynasty, lasting from 1644 to 1912. This beautiful dress has a history of being gifted to the guest's aunt when she was in China by Princess Dazzling. The historical context surrounding this dress indicates that it is an informal court robe. This dress has 3 dragons depicted in the front, 5 on the back, which includes the 2 on the shoulders. In addition, there is also a secret dragon inside the flap of the robe, which makes 9 dragons on this dress in total.
I've never seen that. That is amazing.
Moreover, this Chinese dress is probably made for a Chinese prince.
Well, the Dowers had a son, and he was the prince, the heir of the throne. Because of the Boxer Rebellion, he never came to power.
However, the real owner of this dress is not known because there are many princes. Remarkably, this robe is in a very good condition, which adds to its value. In an auction, due to its historical significance, this beautiful robe would fetch an estimated price of
You are in the vicinity of about $15,000 to $25,000 at auction.
Gosh. Oh, gee, I better take good care of it then.
This guest presents a cherished family heirloom passed down through 2 generations. This photograph was given to the guest's grandfather to commemorate the christening of the Akron Airship.
My grandfather was an executive at Goodyear. That's why he was given this, to commemorate that.
The USS Akron was a helium-filled airship built for the US Navy, operating between September 1931 and April 1933. It was the world's first purpose-built flying aircraft carrier, capable of carrying F-9C Sparrowhawk fighter planes that could be launched and retrieved while airborne. At an impressive 785 feet, 239 meters long, the Akron and its sister ship, the Macon, were among the largest flying objects ever constructed and hold the record as the largest helium-filled airships. The guest's grandfather, an executive at Goodyear, received this photograph as a commemorative gift at the airship's christening. This image was taken by Margaret Burke White, a pioneering American documentary and industrial photographer. Burke White was the first foreign photographer allowed to capture Soviet industry during the Soviets' initial 5-year plan, and was also the first American female war photojournalist.
One of the many strengths of Margaret Burke White
was to take these large industrial objects and humanize them to create fine art.
Notably, she took the famous photograph of the Fort Peck Dam construction that appeared on the cover of Life magazine's first issue. The photograph of the USS Akron is in its original presentation frame, made of duralumin, the material used in constructing the airship itself, which was built by Goodyear Zeppelin for the US Navy. These framed pictures were gifted to company employees, so the exact number of pieces in existence is uncertain. While this print has a few condition issues, its historical provenance maintains its value. If brought to auction, this iconic piece would likely sell for an estimated.
I would price this for auction at $4,000 to $6,000.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful.
Paintings have been a vital part of human expression and culture for centuries, serving multiple purposes beyond mere aesthetics. Our guest inherited this painting from his father, who purchased it in the late 1940s. This painting was created by Gerard Curtis Delano. Gerard Curtis Delano was an American artist and illustrator, best known for his stunning paintings of Native American tribes and the American West.
Started off in New York City as an illustrator, and then came west for the first time. We moved to Colorado in 1919. Kind of fell in love with the West.
He studied art at the Art Institute of Chicago and later at the Académie Julian in Paris. This painting was created in Canyon de Chelly, a Navajo tribal trust land located in northeastern Arizona, USA. Interestingly, the size of the figure in this painting is the size of a quarter, which makes this piece an exceptional work. This painting also bears the artist's signature in the bottom right corner. Gerard Delano's paintings are highly valued and can fetch significant prices, reflecting the high demand and appreciation for his work.
There was one that sold a few years ago that sold for almost $1.5 million.
However, this particular painting in today's auction market is expected to command a price of...
Would probably sell for between $40,000 and $60,000.
Yes. All right, thank you.